Thursday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints are on the road in LA to take on the Rams. My two favorite picks are on the way. First off, I've got to recap how we did in week 15. A very solid week for us. We went 2-0 on Monday Night Football, 6-1 run over the last few days, and overall on the week, an 8-4 week, up a little over 3.4 units. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, we are finally in the positives. Now, to a lot of you guys out there, you might be like, dude, you're only at plus 1.3 units. What's the big deal? And I don't disagree with you there. But if you do recall, and you've been watching these videos for a long time, which I do definitely appreciate you, back on Thanksgiving, we were down 15 units. We had a terrible start to the season. And in that video for the Thanksgiving slate of NFL games, I said we need to be better. And I said that I would give away $100 to 3 random people if we did not turn around the season, and we have turned it around. However, we're not satisfied. Finishing the season up 1.3 units, obviously better than down 15, and we obviously, at the end of the day, we want to make some money, but we need to do better than that. And hopefully we do. Hopefully we can stay hot. We're on a 29-12 run over the past 3 weeks. Let's continue that into week 16, and then do the same thing in week 17, and so on and so forth. This NFL schedule of this week, a little bit different. We got some Saturday games, Sunday, and we got some Monday games. It's going to be a weird slate, but we're going to dive into them. We'll have videos covering each and every, game or set of games every single day. So let's dive into our favorite picks though today. But I do want to talk about Sleeper right now because they have two great things going on. Number one, they have a free square right now for Thursday Night Football. Cooper Kupp to get you 1 yard. He's going to get that done. He certainly shall. I don't know if it's in the first quarter or the fourth. He'll get you at least 1 yard. And then, of course, if you want to sign up, it's only for new users to get that Kupp free square. So make sure you sign up and you use our code COS or the top link in the description. You also will get a first deposit match on your first deposit. You know what I mean? They'll match you up to $500. One of the best offers. I don't necessarily know how much longer they're going to keep this offer out there, but matching your first deposit up to $500 sounds like $500 free dollars to me, or whatever you guys want to match it up to. We love Sleeper. We talk about them time and time again, but take advantage of their little holiday offer. You get that free square too if you sign up using our code or the link in the description. So you make sure you get that deposit match and that free square, all for new users. But you guys came here for picks. Let's try to go 2-0 again on Thursday night and try to keep that momentum coming into Saturday's NFL slate. My first pick is going to be a rushing attempts line. It's going to be Kyren Williams of the Los Angeles Rams over 19.5 rushing attempts, minus 105 on BetMGM. This was plus 100, but minus 105 is what it moved to right around when I was trying to do the write-up and all that stuff. But I really like it at 19.5. Now, FanDuel was the one book. Then when I was recording this video, they were the only one at 20.5. Now, I have no control of where the lines end by, kickoff. So depending on when you're watching this video, it could be 20.5. I like that. I pivoted to this instead of his rushing yards, although I like both of them. I think obviously if he gets 20 rushing attempts, probably a good chance he gets close to his rushing yards line. However, this is the Saints team that has done a pretty good job stopping the run over the past few weeks. But they got the tall task against the Rams rushing attack that's really looked really well over the past, really all season long when Kyren's gotten the ball. And in a must-win game for the Rams at home, I expect them to lean on their ground attack. And in the last 5 games, Kyren, 20, 16, 21, 25, and 27 rushing attempts. His only miss was the game he returned back from injury. That 20 was pre-injury. And in the game that he returned back, he only saw 61% of snaps. But in these really close games, he's been seeing, close to 90% of snaps. Now, last week, only around 77%. Did fumble twice, so understandably, while you didn't want to force feed the ball to him, he still saw 27 rushing attempts. So they're still getting the ball to him a ton. He's their number one guy, and that's what Sean McVay wants. He wants a number one guy that he can force feed the ball to. He doesn't love the running back by committee. And I really like this matchup for him. I mean, you look at the Saints team, they do allow 28 rushing attempts per game. That's in the bottom half of the league, the most in the NFL. I believe it's around 31. But over the last 5 weeks, we've seen running backs versus the Saints combined for 12, 34, 26, 34, and 25 rush attempts. So you've seen each team get above 25 plus rushing attempts just to their running backs. The only game that they didn't was the Giants, who did not get anything going last week. Were like 2 for 16 on third down. Obviously, a lot of this does come down to, can Matthew Stafford and his wide receivers convert on third down? I certainly think they can against this Saints defense without Marshawn Lattimore. So I really do like that I combine their safety and their cornerback's name. But I really do think that we have a good chance here for them to convert those third downs, for them to run it on first and second, get them into third and short, convert those third downs. And Kyren's going to be the guy doing a lot of the damage on the ground out there. I mean, it's a Rams team, in my opinion, at their best when they're able to get Matthew Stafford in a second and 5 or 6, or maybe third and short, third and 1, 2 or 3. That's not just Matthew Stafford. That's really any offense. They want to get into those short times. And we've seen the Saints haven't been the best team on the road. They have looked good the last 2 weeks, but they've also played the Saints and the Panthers, or not the Saints and the Panthers. They played the Panthers and the Giants. yeah, you're going to look good if you're playing two of the worst teams in the NFL. Rams have looked really good recently. If we do see the Rams with a lead here, which is given by the spread, they expect that. I think we'll see the Rams lead on the ground even more, but I think you can run on the Saints. So I'll take Kyren Williams. Give me his over 19 and a half rushing attempts as my first play of the day. Now, my second play is going to be a same game parlay. Although it does have two easy pivots, you can just look at both of these guys for their individual yards. But let's talk about Derek Carr and Chris Olave, both of the New Orleans Saints. For Derek Carr, I'm asking him to throw for 200 plus passing yards. For Chris Olave, hopefully he's hauling in 50 plus of those 200. We're asking him for 50 plus receiving yards. Now, individually, you guys know I don't like to bet a ton, into one game, because obviously, if this were a blowout, we could be really screwed. We don't want to lose a ton of units just from forcing, 3, 4, 5 plays into one game. That's a little bit irresponsible. Although some people can have success doing it, I just don't think it's the smartest way to do it with your bankroll. But at the end of the day, I really liked Olave's receiving yards, and I really like Carr's passing yards. So kind of combining them together, they kind of go hand in hand. It's minus 106 on FanDuel. I believe Bet365 was about minus 130. That's about as high as I would go. DraftKings always sucks for same game parlays for the NFL. They just really suck for same game parlays in general. So DraftKings, I don't love it. I mean, if you are, on DraftKings, you can always throw Kyren Williams in there for 50 rushing yards. You probably get the reasonable value, although then you're, risking double on Kyren Williams if you're taking his rush attempts. But either way, do whatever you want. It's your money. Here's what I'm going to talk about why I like Carr and Olave. Now, let's start with Derek Carr, obviously the QB for the Saints. And so far this season, 200 plus passing yards in 9 of 14 games. 2 of the 5 misses he did get injured in, did have about 105 yards. Jameis Winston came in and easily got over 100 yards. So they combined for 200 plus. You look at 13 of 14 quarterbacks to face the Rams have had 200 or more passing yards against them. That includes 13 straight quarterbacks have thrown for 200 or more. Now, I know what some people are going to say, Austin, I looked at the Commanders game last week against the Rams. They didn't throw for 200 plus passing yards. Neither QB did. Well, yeah, technicality, if you're going by that, sure. Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell, neither threw for 200 yards. However, combined, they threw for 226. So I'm going to count it towards this because at the end of the day, Derek Carr's not getting benched here. If he gets benched, either a couple things happen. Number one, he got injured, which isn't really getting benched. Number two, they probably are up by 40 points. Number three, they're probably down by 40, but by then he's probably throwing it a ton and hopefully he has some yards. And I just don't know. This is not going to be a Chargers-Raiders duplication, knock on wood, where one team dropped 63. At the end of the day, I really like Carr to throw for 200 because that's kind of what QBs have been doing against the Rams. They throw it a ton. Aaron Donald, obviously in the middle, kind of clogging up the paint almost because I've talked about the NBA so much. But, you're not getting a ton of rushing yards against this team. This is the Saints team as is. Not the best running the ball. I mean, Alvin Kamara, he gets his job, and Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams, they try their best, but it's just not really yielded to a lot of success. And so I think Carr's going to have to throw the ball. There's a reason his pass attempts line is sitting at 33, 34 and a half. They're expecting him to throw. I like him to get at least 200. I liked his line at about 228, but we've seen a bunch of QBs get above 200, but end in that 200 to 230 range. I think 4 or 5 QBs that have thrown for 200 have landed below like 235, which is by like the 200 plus as a safety window. And then you're just assuming that his number one wide receiver, hopefully Chris Olave, is the guy getting at least 50 plus of those receiving yards. I mean, you think about Michael Thomas, he's out. You got Rashid in there. He'll get some yards. But at the end of the day, Chris Olave returning back from injury, they need him out there. I mean, at the end of the day, they need to throw the ball. If they're going to throw it, probably going to Chris Olave. He has 50 receiving yards in 8 of 13 games. So not the best hit rate. 2 games, he did end with 46 on the dot. But this is a Rams team struggling against wide receiver ones. They just gave up 141 to McLaurin, and he probably could have had 200. 97 to OBJ. Also, Zay Flowers at well above 60 in that game. 88 to Hollywood Brown. 94 to Metcalf. 158 to Lamb. What it's showing me that the Rams just don't have a lockdown quarter. I mean, obviously, they traded away Jalen Ramsey to Miami. Haven't really found that success there. So I think we're going to see a lot of targets going the way of Chris Olave. You see the Rams, I believe they do play a lot of zone coverage, which isn't the best for Chris Olave, but I still do think he's so talented. He'll be able to get his opportunities with Rashid, stretching the field. I think Chris Olave will be able to run those underneath routes, get those catches. And if they are trailing, which the 4.5 point underdogs indicates they probably will, they'll probably be throwing it a little bit more. So I really like Chris Olave and Derek Carr, a little tandem, 200 for passing yards for Derek Carr, 50 receiving yards for Chris Olave. I like it at minus 106. Obviously, wish it was plus value, but I will not complain about that. So those are my 2 favorite picks of the day. Have a wonderful Thursday night football game. I'll have some other videos posted live when they are on the channel. I'll link them here. You guys have a wonderful Thursday. I'll see you guys back in the next one. As always, let me know your favorite picks down below. And if you want to sign up for Sleeper, get that free square for Cooper Kupp for just 1 yard. It's only for new users that sign up using our code COS. And they'll also match your first deposit up to $500. Great offer out there. Take advantage of it if you are new to Sleeper. We use them almost daily, it feels like, in the NBA videos. But it's Austin signing out. See you in the next one. Peace.